Hey everyone, this is Tech, and on this episode we talk about Sony's Indie Showcase, a game jam about accessibility of games, who'd have thought, and a game that has Rev killing his computer to play. This is episode 2 of the Indie Game Riot.
Indie Game Riot! Hey everybody, it's JaShinYa, and this is episode the second episode. Man, I don't know what is with me these past couple episodes.
Hey, I can mess up the first cut, but
yeah,
no,
no, there's no going back. There's no going back now, so, you know.
We forgot our warm-ups again, just so you all are aware.
Okay.
Yeah. Episode 2 of the Indie Game Riot, as Tech had announced earlier.
Yes, I have.
And we made it through one episode, guys. What do you think?
Lots of fun.
Yeah?
I had a blast, yeah.
All right, fantastic. Well, since everyone knows about us already, because I'm sure everyone listening to this has eagerly already listened to the first episode.
Hey, I'm an award-winning filmmaker. If they don't know about me, it's their fault.
He's got an IMDb page. Look him up.
And 10 managers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Disclaimer, don't actually have an IMDb page, but
Well,
I'm gonna make you one.
other than your ego, what would you like to promote or not promote? Announce, right? Tech. I almost called you Wreck.
a wreck. That's what my girlfriend calls me.
Oh.
No, I mean, you know, just a fun week overall. It's getting nice. I can keep the windows open. Gas is getting more expensive, as it always is. And I'm going to be heading to Origins Game Fair in June, which I'm pretty excited about.
Ooh, Origins Game Fair. That's the tabletop thing, right?
It's mostly tabletops. They also have some video games and some, like, arcade cabinets.
Fantastic. That actually sounds like a lot of fun. I wonder... It's too bad Will Wheaton from Tabletop doesn't go on.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
He might.
Yeah. Well, I doubt it. He was just that, he just did that game, or what was it, Comic-Con? Is that what just happened? I don't know.
PAX?
PAX. It was maybe PAX. I don't know.
One of them.
Anyway, how about you, Rev? What's been going on?
I got to sleep today, and I'm gonna sleep tonight.
I went to sleep.
Exactly. No, for the last couple of days, there's been the International Medieval Combat Federation Championship in Belmont, Spain, and today was the last day of it. They did the men's and women's longsword finals. They did the 5 versus 5 finals and the 16 versus 16 finals. And Team USA, for those of you that are interested and patriotic, Team USA went nuts. We had
Literally,
gold
they
medals.
actually sharpened their weapons.
No, not quite that. No, like we won gold in everything except 2 of the single events.
Wow.
And like the 15 or the 16 versus 16 and the 5v5, everybody was injured for. Like the 5v5 team that won gold was like they had one person who had been red carded out earlier yesterday.
I was gonna say,
and then
it's like everyone there is like the Black Knight from Monty Python.
pretty much like one of the 3 of them were down with ankle injuries. One of them cracked his shoulder. Another one screwed up his other arm. Like it was intense, and they still managed to win against some of the best fighters in the world.
I'm surprised that you didn't get more elbow injuries. But these guys are probably some of the best in the world, so they know how to throw swings without hurting their elbows.
Exactly. So that's what I've been doing. That's why I haven't been sleeping much, and that's why tonight I'm going to be sleeping.
Fantastic. Love it.
How about you, Josh? What's up with you?
Actually, it's kind of like not new news, but because no one else that's listening knows, I'm having a second child, and it's a boy. I already have a daughter, but a boy is on the way, probably early August.
That's gonna be fun.
Oh, yeah.
You know what you're gonna name him yet?
The number one.
If not,
name...
I have suggestions.
No. The number one name right now is Kai. Kai.
That's a cool name. I'm
don't
okay with that name.
don't do that to your kid. Don't do that to your kid.
Hey,
What?
I was a kid and still am a person who has a name that is so hard to spell and pronounce properly the first few times you see it that it is easier for me to tell waiters and store owners and people that I'm calling to that my name is Tech, because Tech is really easy to spell. You can spell it wrong for all I care. It's easy. But no, I have 7 letters in my first name and 2 of them repeat, and it's hell. Kai is easy.
It's not, though. Studies have shown that if you name your kid with off-the-wall nonsense names, they're more likely to do poorly in school, more likely to have a criminal history by the time they're in their early 20s.
It's not off the wall or nonsense. It's heritage.
Heritage?
My wife is Hawaiian.
Oh,
okay.
Never mind.
Right.
That's cool.
You dick.
Color me ignorant.
Yeah, you should. That's the new color. Crayola, get on that. And
Color me ignorant. It's just clear. We're trying to be racially sensitive with this one, so.
Okay, well.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
suck
exactly.
up now. Don't suck. With that out of the way, and Rev is just rudeness. Let's move on to Indie News Injection.
Are you bored with the same old games?
Yeah.
Why, then give yourself an Indie News Injection.
Thanks, Indie Games.
Okay, so first up we have the Sony Indie Showcase, and the gist on this, we'll have the links available in the show notes. It's basically Sony's way of making nice with all the independent developers that they kind of pissed off in the last generation. At least that's the way that I'm reading it. For those of you that are in the know, both Microsoft and Sony kind of pissed off a lot of indie people in the last generation. They're trying to make nice with them. Sony, however, is actually going one step further, not just trying to make sure that there's a toolkit available to them, but also to help them showcase their stuff using the PS4 hardware, as well as focusing primarily on games that have a more nostalgic feel. And not necessarily like Doom clones and things like that. It's new and modern takes on the type of game mechanics that have been around for 20 years and have been solidified and refined.
I think what it is too is that it's not necessarily. I mean, it can be, but it's not necessarily like reinventing a game. You know, it's actually very basic stuff, right? It's all simplistic. Yeah. But it's that they're taking the modern technology and adding to it. So it's a lot of the like mechanics and the behind the scenes development that's really being showcased. Because I think some of the examples were like there was a brawler.
There's one that looks amazing. Starwall.
Which one is that?
That's the one where you're playing narwhals in space.
Oh yeah.
Narwhals in space.
No, that's really what it is. It's a 4-player. It's a 4-player kind of arena type.
I have seen this game actually, and it's coming to the PS4. Because I thought that was like a browser-based game at some point.
That might have been the start of it, but this looks absolutely fantastic. It's basically
Starwall Just the Tip, and it's coming to PS4.
Yeah. And there's a bunch of side scrollers and a lot of 2D stuff, and I saw one that they were talking about Apotheon. Sorry, I don't speak Latin or Greek. But
what the hell?
But
it's language jokes.
But the mechanics behind it kind of remind me of another more recent game that I really enjoyed. That was Mark of the Ninja. It kind of has that same feel in terms of its layout and what you're doing, but it has a very ancient Greek, ancient Roman feel to the design on it. And it looks like one of those games that I would thoroughly enjoy. And I'm big on
Apotheon, you said?
Yeah.
Apotheon, yeah.
Pheon.
Now, one thing that this whole thing is making me wonder is how much of this is, and I'm not trying to, brag on Sony. Like, Sony is one of my, favorite companies, but, just trying to be a little bit skeptical. How much of this is actually wanting to support the indie devs and more wanting to bank on this new movement towards the independent and try and beat Xbox out on that front?
You can't really blame them for wanting to make money off of it.
That's true.
I mean, they're a business, and that's their number one priority is making money.
Right.
Otherwise, there is no Sony.
Right.
I think just the fact, no matter what their intentions are, I think the fact that they're providing a platform for these indie developers to release their games and
the toolkits to integrate with their hardware. That's the big one.
That is a big one.
That's what's good about it. No matter what's actually their intention, I think it's just beneficial to the indie developers.
Yeah.
In the long run, I mean, that was one of the problems that the previous generation had issues with. Nobody wanted to do indie games for the PS3 because the architecture was bloody ridiculous, and nobody wanted to do indie games on the 360 because Microsoft kind of screwed the pooch with that and charged people $30,000 for a single update to a game. Like, who the hell does that, really?
Microsoft does that, apparently.
Microsoft doesn't give a crap, so.
Yeah, I think that this is really cool, especially if you're giving developers the ability to use the hardware on the PS4, because I mean, obviously the PS4 is able to handle some of the best games out there.
Right.
It's talking about specs, not trying to get in any fights here. It has some of the best hardware for a console on the market.
Well, it's not even about the fight. I mean, it's fact.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so, all these 2D side-scrolling games, obviously are going to run amazing, especially in these huge resolutions, for really artistic, stylized 2D games to be put on a 60-inch screen in 4K would be awesome.
I need to go change my pants.
but think about what that means for the old school style platformer adventure game in 3D, because that genre has died. You don't see games like Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, Banjo-Kazooie, Conker's Bad Fur Day, these platformer adventure games, and I think that this might open the door for that genre to sort of come back. If there was a 7-hour platform adventure game with a really witty character and some tongue-in-cheek jokes and a lot of really cool level mechanics and stuff, like
this game that I happen to be making right now called wait, no.
That's what part of this article that we found on Polygon, by the way, but that's what part of this article is about, is that the whole nostalgic aspect of it is these indie developers create these nostalgic games because indie developers create what they want, what they enjoy, and that's what they grew up on, so that's why they stick to it. Which isn't a bad thing. That's a good thing, and they're reinventing them with modern technology. And you're right that it's going to reopen. It's kind of like it's coming full circle is what it's doing.
Right.
It's Banjo-Kazooie was awesome on the N64. It's one of my favorite games ever, and these indie developers have the chance to take their creativity and add it with the modern technology of Sony, the Sony API or whatever.
Could you imagine doing Conker's Bad Fur Day with modern tech?
Right. Who's to stop an indie dev from evolving? I just tried to plug our own tagline. It did not work.
Enabling the evolution.
Thank you. Yeah, hashtag. From taking it from these 2D platformers or 2D brawlers or something like that, like you said, and then creating something like Conker's Bad Fur Day, but with their creativity, without the constraints of a large company looking over your shoulder, poking you every 5 minutes with a spear.
Saying, hey, this doesn't appeal to the 6 to 8 year old young girls demographic.
Nintendo.
Well, not just them, but I mean, think about part of the reason that drew one of the things that drew me to this project, working with you guys on this is the fact that indie game development is pretty much the only place that you can go these days to get games that aren't built by committee. Because, you know, if I'm sitting in my apartment and I'm making a game that I want to play, I don't care whether or not I'm going to be able to sell 30 million copies. I want to make a game that I want to play. And if other people want to play that, that's awesome. But that's, you know, that comes secondary. I don't have to expand my goals for the game to, no, I have to make this profitability, blah, blah, blah.
Right. And speaking of the whole kind of taking those, what am I trying to think? Those aspects of these indie games and making it go further with the technology. Another piece of news we have is BattleBlock Theater. You know, you're talking about the Star Wall on PS4, kind of the same genre. BattleBlock Theater, where it's a multiplayer brawler similar to like Smash Brothers. Also, you could compare it to, I guess. But BattleBlock Theater by the Behemoth, which is the developer, they're finally releasing on Steam, coming out May 15th. It was only on console before this, so that's actually kind of exciting, because I don't know if you ever played Castle Crashers, hugely popular, came out on Xbox Arcade originally.
It was one of the first games that I bought on Xbox Arcade.
Yeah, Castle Crashers is great, and BattleBlock Theater is their, I don't know what you would call that, their follow-up, I guess. Yeah, sequel is the word I was kind of looking for. It's not really a sequel, but, you know, their follow-up to
the next IP.
The smash hit, yeah. So I don't know. Have you guys? You said you played Castle Crashers?
Yeah.
So
and I'm pretty much. I'm very familiar with Castle Crashers. Castle Crashers.
I need a monocle. I feel like I need a monocle.
And an insane overbite. Anyway, back to BattleBlock Theater.
Are you guys excited for this, or is you just indifferent?
Do you want my honest opinion?
Yeah.
I couldn't really care less. I mean, I think it's cool, but I mean, not my thing.
Not your thing, like just the multiplayer like brawler type thing?
Yeah. They're fun. Don't get me wrong, they're really fun, but I'm not really looking to drop $15 at launch to, you know, have a lot of fun with a few friends, because I don't have a whole lot of friends who would play that game either.
Tekiro doesn't have any friends.
We're going to edit that part out. It's just going to be that I don't have many friends.
I don't have.
We're going to repeat it over and over and over.
I'm recorded in multiple places on the internet saying that I don't have any friends. But I mean, that's just the thing. I mean, is this game going to be fun for me when I'm sitting at home on a day off
alone?
It's not strictly multiplayer.
Alone.
It's not strictly multiplayer. There is a story mode that you can play by yourself. And they're also, I guess, putting a few newer things and improvements for the Steam release as well. If anyone already has it for console, you don't mind buying multiple copies on different platforms. Let's see, added
fatter cats.
Yeah, fatter cats, whatever that means.
The cats are the bad guys.
Well, I know that, but I don't know what they mean by fat. If they mean like they're literally fat, or if they're like, yeah, I'm a fat cat.
It says it's spelled Fatter, not Phatter.
Well, you can get a Phatter in your face. They're adding a feature to immediately switch out your weapons. There's also going to be the Steam Workshop and trading cards, that sort of stuff. So everything's kind of integrated with the Steam API.
I think the Steam Workshop will definitely make this game
with the level editing. Yeah.
Oh, of course, really cool. That's the only, like, I don't care about weapons, but like if you can have like community made levels or like super challenging levels like they've made with some of the Super Mario platformers.
I'm gonna tell you right now, penises everywhere.
That might be the case.
That's the internet's tagline.
Yeah,
the internet, penises everywhere.
But I mean, I think that's a really cool feature. Again, not my thing. Not trying to knock it or anything. It's, you know, I'm a picky gamer, but I think it's really cool that they're doing it and they're gonna have that functionality.
For people not familiar with the Behemoth too, I do have to say that Tom Falk, who probably did the majority of the main programming on the game, is an excellent game programmer. Like his games, I've never Well, that's not true, but his games run probably the smoothest out of almost all indie games I've ever played. Like it's just the animations are smooth, the gameplay is excellent, the level designs great. You know, it's just, and the humor too. The humor is
great.
Yeah,
kind of a icon of the Behemoth games in general.
It's kind of a satire in poke at society, among other things, but kind of a dark humor. I'd get behind that. I'm actually disappointed that I didn't know that they had this on Xbox Arcade already. It's apparently been out on Xbox Live for over a year, and yeah, like it was released in April of last year. And I did not know that, and now I am going to have to go buy it. So,
Rev's gonna buy a 4-pack for him.
Gotcha. We'll see, Josh. You're talking about Tom Fulp's ability in programming, but could he program a game that is accessible to the handicapped?
I would actually.
I
would guarantee. I would put my money on it. Yes.
And which means he should probably check out our next little bit of news.
Nice segue.
I know. Which is the Accessibility Game Jam. It is a game jam basically that is trying to raise awareness for disabled gamers, whether that be cognitive issues, hearing issues, vision issues, motor issues. I think that mostly means either not having enough limbs or being left-handed. And really just bringing people together as gamers. And I know that this can be a really big issue because I have some friends who are left-handed. And when I say left-handed, I mean super left-handed. My girlfriend is so left-handed that she has problems using a mouse.
She uses the trackball one.
She uses mostly laptops, so it's mostly touchpads or tablet pens.
You could just train her by smacking her with a ruler.
you think I measure things?
Well, no, I'm actually really interested in this because, you know, as I've gotten older, my hearing has decreased. I'm sure that, you know, years in theaters and shows didn't help with that. You know, I'm 3/4 deaf in my left ear, half deaf in my right ear, and I'm colorblind. I'm a monochromat. So, you know, finding out that people are starting to...
I didn't know you were completely colorblind.
Yeah, I'm a complete monochromat.
So wait, so Guitar Hero is like your worst nightmare?
No, actually, it's not, because that's just lining it up with the lines on the screen. You don't have to worry about color.
But driving into one of those cities where all the stoplights are sideways.
Oh my God, I hate Germany.
So first step games, next step all of the weird stoplights in California or something.
Exactly.
Actually, that's interesting, and also because you spent time in Iraq and Afghanistan, right?
No, actually, that was not me. That was my husband.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
My husband and my laptop. So.
Oh, gotcha. The laptop brought over the deafness issue.
Yeah.
Well, this is actually really, really a big thing because I'm a part of a big tabletop game that was kickstarted, and a lot of the choices for some of the game pieces were made to be able to have colorblind people easily distinct the different colors of items. And it's not something that, you know, us normal people, big quotes on...
What do you mean by normal people?
Well, no, exactly. It's not something that a lot of people think about. And everyone is usually just, oh, well, we're going to make this game for the lowest common denominator, or actually greatest common denominator, where they're right-handed and probably male and can see right and can hear okay and can, you know, like, because there are people who can't distinct where sounds are coming from.
And to give an example of a video game that's already been made to accommodate blind people or visually impaired, because I guess not everyone's technically like completely blind, but you know what I mean. Someone who can't see well or is completely blind is a game called Grail to the Thief. And it's basically an audio adventure where that's interactive. Where I guess it's extremely well voice acted. Obviously, the audio is top notch. Right. Obviously, it's important, and they add places where you can make decisions and decide what to do within the game. So, and I just thought of, like, because I'm gonna add gameplay to the video after this, but I'm not sure if they have.
A Rail to the Theater.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Video of
But anyway,
Talking to yourself, you act like one of those fools that entertains the king.
1. Say you're a blacksmith. 2. Say you're a jester. 3. Say you're from the future.
I'm a time traveler from the future who's here to steal the Holy Grail.
but that's it's a really good example of what can be done for someone who doesn't have the capability that most people do. So I think it's a really good thing too, just because people deserve to be able to play games. I mean, it's an experience that I would regret missing out on if I was disabled in some way. If I can play Skyrim or something that was just amazing.
And I think that this will also open up the door for because this is just games right now, but you just sort of think of the possibilities of changing the peripherals to play these games. Because it's hard to find left-handed mice and left-handed guitars and stuff, or people with disabilities,
paralyzed people, right?
Exactly, being able to have those interfaces.
Like if you I don't know, Stephen Hawking's maybe a bad example, but like someone who's in that situation where they can move and do stuff with that tube thing. I'm not sure what that's called.
Yeah.
Why can't tube thing is good enough. Why can't you integrate something with that for video games? Right. I think it might be a problem with something that may be reflex oriented.
Right.
But there's games out there, especially nowadays, talking about indie games. A lot of indie games are extremely story oriented, which actually we have something to that example in Peep Show later on. But they're extremely story oriented, and I think those are really good opportunities for that sort of a situation.
Yeah, it's just really cool.
Before we dive into our next segment, let's get what's some of the details on the jam. When does it start? When do they announce?
May 11th. May 11th is when the designers will be tasked to create the games, and it'll run for 3 weeks from the 11th to the 1st, hosted via Game Jolt's hosting platform.
Yes.
So starting 11th, ending June 1st, and they're going to announce on the 11th what the secret ingredient is?
Yes, it'll be released on the 11th.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, with that said, I think it's time to start the riot. All right, everyone, this time for starting the riots, we have an indie game. It's not new, but I think it really deserves a spot. One, because I've recently been playing it. I'm almost finished the Let's Play series on my channel. It's a game called Papo Yo. Basically, Papo Yo, first of all, is by a developer called Minority, and it's basically about a young boy and his friend Monster. He also has a toy robot that accompanies him, helps him, and there's a white girl that's kind of a dick.
This is Boy and His Blob, but modern.
I don't even know what Boy and His Blob is. So.
What? I've heard of it.
But it's just calm tits.
Go ahead.
The thing that actually makes this a little bit more special is the metaphor that is trying to push across. Papo Yo is, I'm assuming, some sort of maybe Spanish or something. I'm not exactly sure. For father and I, or Papa and me, Daddy and me, something like that. And basically, throughout the game, and you'll it's not like a secret because it's right from the introduction sequence. It's a metaphor for abuse and addiction. Alcoholism is what I'm assuming, but I'm not. It's some sort of addiction. The monster being his father, and Kiko, who's the main character, the boy, is friends with the monster, but the monster has an addiction in the game to these poisonous frogs. And every time the monster eats those poisonous frogs, he flies into a rampage, tries to hurt Kiko, that sort of stuff like that. And throughout the game, Kiko's really just trying to be friends with the monster, help the monster, and then and also avoid those situations. It's also heavily puzzle-oriented game. It's really beautiful and great soundtrack too. You can just download the soundtrack and it's just cool to listen to.
I've seen some of the videos on your channel. I haven't personally played it, but I was blown away by how beautiful the scenery is and how well the designers were able to capture the environment that you're in. I think you understand what I'm saying with that. It's hard to explain in words, but when you really see the visuals, you sort of get this feeling of like space and how you are relative to that space.
Right. And it's a mixture of that and the fact that he's a child in this situation. He's kind of going to his happy place, in a horrible situation with his father. And it's like you said, it's relative to you and everything else in the world, but also you'll notice like it's kind of fantastical in the way that he can manipulate the environment and with the drawings all over the wall that you'll see all over the place. It just looks like coming from a young person, like maybe a 9-year-old or something like that mind, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just really innocent in that way. But at the same time has a dark side about the message of abuse.
So it's kind of I haven't read up on it, but just based on what you guys are saying, it's kind of the child's escape and learning to deal with life.
Right.
That kind of situation. Okay.
Right, and he goes on this adventure too, like I said, with the monster friend. I keep bumping the microphone. With the monster friend, and as the story goes on, it's not really a spoiler thing. But as the story goes on, he is trying to help Monster overcome this addiction and the anger that envelops him when
he eats a frog.
When he eats a frog or whatever the actual addiction is.
Right.
So,
what's this game rated?
I'm pretty sure E for everyone. There's nothing because there's not really.
It's 10+ E.
10 plus E.
Okay.
Probably because of that kind of a dark message. But there's nothing. There's no gore. There's
right.
Maybe a little bit of violence because obviously the monster, when he gets angry, he goes after Pico.
That is fantasy violence is
right.
what it got. It's 10+.
But so there's no foul language or anything like that.
Okay. Like what I'm trying to get at is, would this be a good game for younger people to play to sort of have that perspective of life, I guess?
Absolutely. I mean, if my kids were old enough to, understand the games, I would let them play it, even if they weren't 10 yet. If they were just playing the game, I would let them play it. Because, I mean, it's a real thing. It's something that happens, and, unfortunately, chances are they're going to have a classmate that goes through this.
Yeah, you're only, I think it's, and not to try and get super serious here, but you're only like 3 individuals away from domestic abuse.
Right, and it's a serious issue, and they need to understand that. And maybe with that understanding, they'll be empathic towards those people and kind of reach out. Maybe I've known people who, and actually I don't know how deep you want to go into it, Tekino, but I know that you have a friend also that deals with something like that, and reaching out to them and understanding that situation is really helpful to them, because then they can kind of escape and come, to your place, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And just get away from that for a while. And you can be their escape. So
yeah. Look at us getting all like meaningful and supportive of people.
Yeah.
Well, but see, and that reinforces the benefits to society that gaming can bring about.
That's actually a really good point.
Not only is it a form of escapism, because who doesn't like to just kick back and go murder hobo on some bricks, after a stressful day at work, but, it also has the ability to teach a meaningful, standard, a societal standard, or set the example of, hey, this is the type of thing that a lot of people could go through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually a really good point, and I think indie games specifically have this unique ability to push these messages across, because again, they're not being pushed to make the societal standard.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They're not being pushed to make the next Gears of War or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So they can push these experimental, these story-oriented games across, and turns out to be beautiful and creates a great message. So.
Yeah, and you've been playing it for 9 episodes, so I can imagine that it's fun to play as well.
Right. I mean, it is an indie game, and a lot of times with indie games, there's going to be a few faults here and there. There's been a couple times where I've just gotten straight pissed off at the game. But I can say, that's very minimal. I would say 95% of the time I'm having fun, and it's just really charming, the game. That's actually, charming is a really good word for the game. And I've just really enjoyed it. And you kind of bond with Kiko the monster, and Lula, which is the robot's name, is toy robot that helps him. It's kind of, there's a little bit of platforming involved, and that's where Lula comes in.
So where can we get this?
Yep, you can get it. It's on Steam, $15. You can also go to their website, weareminority.com. Of course, all those the link will be in the description. And I would
also
definitely give it a go.
available on PSN.
PSN, there you go. I didn't know because I don't have a PlayStation.
I was looking at the article that you linked.
Yeah. So, any other last words on Papo Yo?
It looks interesting.
Yeah.
I won't be able to play it. I don't think I have anything that could handle it, but I really like the concept, and I know which Let's Play videos I'm going to be watching this evening.
Oh, yeah.
It seems a little bit heavy for me because I like to escape my games. The games that I like to escape into are happy and fun. Not to say that this isn't fun, but, you know.
There's a lot of happiness in it, too, but I understand what you're coming from.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like how I never played... I'm probably never going to play The Last of Us. Or like
Spec
any of
Ops.
those. Yeah, exactly. Oh, God, especially not Spec Ops.
Spec Ops was amazing, by the way. Just so you
know. Well, I think it is time for the Peep Show.
Please give all your attention to Early Access. Oh yeah, take it off. Oh, this new game, not to keep you guys out.
Oh, I'm going to go take a shower while you talk about this.
Is on Kickstarter right now. It is called The Old City. It is a first-person exploration game, and this game looks awesome. Currently needs $40,000 with a few days to go. It has yet to meet its goal, but it hasn't been out there very long, and this game is beautiful. It is an adventure game that is story based, like very story based, where you go around and you look for information and different what's the word I'm looking for? Different ideologies to follow and move yourself through the game how you would choose to, like with what you
mean by ideologies.
It looks like you can sort of shape the way you play the game by different
there's like different philosophical pathways.
Yeah, like philosophical pathways that you can take.
And depending
I can take the murder hobo route, or I can take the pacifist route.
I don't know what kind of philosophical.
Yeah, they haven't quite gotten into that yet.
Okay.
I know, like with the Kickstarter too, one of the reasons that they're looking for funding is because they need to, they need the extra funding so they can work on it more full time. Because right now they only do it on weekends, I believe. And if they're able to do that, they're going to be able to get it out sooner. But also, if they start exceeding their goals, they're going to be able to add more philosophies to the game. And I think what it is that as you go through, it's very story-oriented, right? So I think as you go through the game, you'll be able to kind of sway your decisions based on how you're discovering everything.
Yeah. And this game looks like it has been designed specifically for you to just discover everything. It's like, I look at this and the first thing that I think of is an old school point and click adventure, and it makes me want to play it.
It reminds me a lot of Myst, and it's Myst but with more first person, because it's not just because in the old Myst it was like your first person perspective, but it's still point and click. Yeah. This is definitely more like you're actually controlling the person, but it's still more about discovery, like a point and click.
Yeah, and it looks beautiful. Like the design elements and the I don't want to get super technical here, but the amount of polygons used correctly, because polygons don't always equal good design, right. But it's like everything looks really smooth. All the texture detail from the pictures and the video that they're showing look really well done. Yeah. Obviously,
atmosphere is great.
Oh,
with the lighting and everything like that. Mm-hmm. There's one picture that they constantly show with like a dead sperm whale or something beached on land, and I don't know, that picture kind of speaks to me. Like, it's just really like wow, just how everything looks.
Now it's just see if they can turn all these really cool images into a fun game to play.
So who's making it?
Postmod Softworks.
Have they done anything else that we might know?
I am checking right now.
And they're also, just as a BT dubs, they're also on Steam Greenlight. So if you can't Kickstarter, obviously you want to share the Kickstarter, but you can also Greenlight it, because this game is going to come out no matter what. It's just that this funding is going to allow additional elements as well as a quicker release.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, this looks to be their first release. Their whole website is basically, which is their website, postmodsoftworks.com. It's all Old City, with a lot of really cool things. Like, they have this bottom paragraph about game. They're really trying to not blur the line between game and interactive media. They really want to. Or they're trying to blur the line, rather. It says that they're
less The Walking Dead and more like Monkey Island.
It actually reminds me a lot of Gone Home. If you guys ever played or seen.
I'm familiar with Gone Home. Yeah,
right. I've played Gone Home, and I have my personal opinions about that specific game. But it had nothing to do with the actual gameplay. But it's very discovery based and story-oriented.
And this also seems it's saying that it's proposed to have multiple different endings and multiple different paths, to where they're assuming that there'll be lots of different playthroughs that you can do and play the game completely differently and have a completely new experience every time.
Right.
Okay. Which is pretty cool. And if the price is right, who can ask for? And if the price is right and the storyline is long enough, who can ask for more than a good time?
Well, if you kickstart it with a minimum of $15, you automatically get the game. So.
And $15 for maybe. This might be asking a lot, but if the game is less than 10 hours, like if I can beat the game in one sitting, I consider that game to be too short, personally.
I think it also depends on how you play it, because I mean
that's very true.
If you're taking your time and really absorbing it, it's going to take longer.
That is true. That is very true. I do not want to back for $25, but I just clicked it accidentally. That's why I. But yeah, like all their pledges are like really reasonable. $15 gets you the game, and it looks like they're needing the money. They haven't quite met their goal yet of $40,000. They need to make that by May 28th. People, so get on that. Greenlight it on Steam. Does anybody else have anything they want to say about the Old City?
Yes. Is there any technological bonuses to this?
What do you mean by that?
Well, like Oculus Rift is really big right now, and this is apparently a story-based first person. I think that would be a pretty good merger of technology.
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah. They haven't said anything.
No, it is Oculus.
Oh, really?
It will be.
Yeah, it says on the Kickstarter page at the top.
Old City will support Oculus Rift. Yep.
Yeah.
Sweet.
That'll really absorb you into that, man.
Oh, that's gonna be cool.
The beautiful environments, especially if you get the Oculus Rift that's not shitty, because the developer package is like, not very. It's not like 1080p or anything like that. It's like
right.
480.
It's just enough to kind of get you an idea, and
Right. So, I definitely think I'd suggest it. What do you guys think?
I really like the sound of it. I'm much less becoming a fan of the action adventure type games. They're fun on occasion. I would love to have something that doesn't have combat.
And just as long as they don't make everything a huge mental capacity where I have to like bring myself out of the game and like write everything down myself.
Well, it says too that it's not really. There's not going to really be puzzles. They're taking out the traditional game mechanics as far as puzzles and like you said, combat or anything like that. It's really going to be about your experience in the game.
So no more combining the coconut and the fishing rod to open a door.
Right. I don't even think you collect items. It's just strictly
and it's very non-linear. Apparently, it's what they're saying. Again, all we have is really
what's on the Kickstarter.
The Kickstarter,
yeah, exactly. or the website. So,
and their website. So, okay.
So I think it's really cool to see where this goes.
Right. Well,
and those links will in the show notes. We'll have them there.
Absolutely. In the description.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Well, with that said, whatever Rev says, it's time for free fun.
All right, so you guys heard Tech earlier introduce this as the game that I am literally killing my laptop to play. And this is not a lie. I don't have the best hardware. My laptop has survived a couple of tours in Kuwait and half a tour in Afghanistan. It is dying. I should have probably pulled it apart and cleaned it. It needs a new battery. I have a hard time running recording software so that we can do this podcast. I have the software up and that's it. And a page with my show notes in Notepad. But this game, it's called Red Rogue, and the developer for this game is let me find it again. STEED, so Steed.
Congratulations, you've learned to read.
Well, it's technically 3D, but
yeah, it took me a second to read it and vocalize it in my mind.
Elite Steed.
Elite Steed, yeah. So it is a complete game. It is currently free. You can have it is available on Linux, Mac, and Windows. It is a roguelike, side-scroller, 8-bit graphics, and it's an RPG. You're basically running around this dungeon, and you're punching gnomes and kobolds and things like that. You can summon a skeleton minion-looking dude to come help you, and your whole goal is to get this random MacGuffin called the Amulet of Yendor, and then get the hell back out. My laptop doesn't handle games well. I have put more than 4.5 hours into this game today alone. It's addicting. I enjoy it.
This is going to sound a little bit off topic, but you said about kicking or punching gnomes. This game, I have to download this game now because I'm actually the dungeon master of a 3.5 D&D campaign where one of the characters is a half orc named Gnome Puncher. and if I could just play as Gnome Puncher in a game, I think that sold it for me. And the art style, it's very simple, as you said. It's 8-bit, it's pixelated, but
it's really
damn,
good
does it look good.
Yeah,
like the clouds in this.
The thing that impresses me the most is the fact that this is a free game, and it's incredibly deep. It's I mean it's a roguelike, so you're trying to get as far as you can and leveling up along the way and getting all this loot, and it's permadeath too.
Yeah.
And you talked about playing for 4.5 hours, but at the same time, a lot of times you don't have a lot of time to play, right? So there's they have two different options too that they were thoughtful enough to add in, where you can play either in real time, which makes it go a lot faster, or you can also play where the game moves when you move. You know what I mean?
Time only advances when you initiate an action. They also they did also allow the ability to export a save file so you don't lose your progress. And then you can import that back in. It's a small download. It is something like 40 some odd megs.
20.
20? Oh, okay, yeah.
That's 20 for the Linux, 9 for the Windows.
And it's compressed, so
yeah.
But tons of fun. I personally have leveled my rogue, my thief, up to level. My highest level was 7, and I got to the 8th level of the dungeon before I died. And
so how many levels are there?
Yes.
Well, I thought. Well, according to the article I read on it from Indie Static, is you are going as deep as you can in the dungeon. I guess once you get to the bottom, I guess you would call it, you get some sort of artifact, and then you have to make your way back out. So I mean, there's a lot of gameplay to this too. I mean,
and is there anything that like carries over from your past death, or do you start completely over like in Binding of Isaac?
I believe it is start completely over. I don't know for certain because part of the reason why I died on the last time was because my laptop was overheating and it went down to super choppy and then crashed on me. So I haven't picked it back up again from that point. My previous time, I simply closed the game and came back to it at a later time.
Gotcha.
So
and that's what was called the F-bomb heard around the world.
Exactly.
Your Rev.
And then nobody hears it except my wife. So, so yeah, check it out. It is a lot of fun. It's free. Their website, it'll be linked in the show notes, redrogue.net, and have fun.
You can also download it on GameJolt.com. Link in the description.
Yeah. Yep. Well, with that said, I think that's the end of the show. Am I right?
I think you are correct.
I am right. I am correct. That's what I like to hear, you butt kisser, you. Why don't you guys let everyone know where they can find you, Tech?
All right. Well, my name is Takedo everywhere. You can check me out. I actually realized that I said my Twitter handle wrong last time. On Twitter, I am at Takedo_.
Moron.
It's important. At Takedo_. You can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/TakedoPlays. You can find me on Facebook, facebook.com. Just search Takedo. You'll find me. It's my big blonde-haired face with the beard. You can't miss me.
No. Rev.
Do you have a good beard?
I have a decent beard, yes.
Okay. Okay, so you can reach me at Twitter at ReverendDS. That's Reverend and then an additional DS at the end of that. You can also check out my YouTube channel at DS Reverend. Have no videos or anything like that, but you can watch what I'm watching and check out what I think to be worthwhile.
Do you have a good beard?
I'm part Native American. I can't grow facial hair.
Wow.
I've not shaved in like 6 months, and I barely have the beginning of chin fuzz going.
I was about to say, I haven't shaved in 6 months, but the results are way different.
The views of the host on Indie Game Riot do not necessarily reflect the views of the podcast.
Well, that wasn't a racial thing. Like, Native Americans typically don't have a lot of facial hair. It's a rare thing in that genome.
It's okay. I have a Native American friend.
I do. Rev is totally right.
You can find me on Twitter at JaShinYa, JaShinya, Facebook.com/JaShinYa, and on YouTube, where this podcast is hosted. That is YouTube.com/JaShinYa.
It's not a backslash.
I just said slash. I didn't say backslash. So
you did say backslash.
Well, you can calm your tits double time.
Okay.
/JaShinYa Gaming, or you can just search JaShinYa. Speaking of YouTube, I did say that this show is hosted on said channel, but you can also find our show, just our show in general, not just us individuals, but our show on Twitter at IGR Podcast, Facebook.com/IGR Podcast. We also have a subreddit where you guys can join in a conversation, post news stories, talk about the episodes or anything like that. That is reddit.com/r/Indie Game Riot. And of course, we have a website.
Enabling the evolution.
Enabling the evolution. Thank you. That's your job from now on, is just to plug, just to plug the tagline. Wherever it doesn't make sense. The website. We have a website. It is igrpodcast.webs.com. It is temporarily a web's domain that shall change in the near future, hopefully.
Yep.
And then, of course, there is a contact form where you can send us messages, any comments, questions about the show, or you can send us links to cool games, or if you're an indie dev that you think your game you wanted to talk about. I can't guarantee that it will be, but we will certainly take a look at it. Or if you'd rather just email me directly, you can email JaShinYaGaming@gmail.com, where all the information will go to anyway. So, any last words, gentlemen?
Other than that, we hope to hear you guys next week because indie games don't stop, and neither do we.
Wow, that was brought to you by Domino's.
That was totally off the top of my head. I don't think I'll be able to top that.
That was fantastic. Like, I honestly thought I was listening to a commercial there for a moment.
Pat yourself on the back, and then say goodbye to everyone.
All right, see you guys next time.
See you guys.
Tschüss.
Hey everybody, this is Tech on. All right, sorry.
I was like, what language is this?
All right.
And on that
was the practice. All right, are we ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.